The euphoria you feel when a Friday night plan gets canceled outweighs the joy of actually going listen closely. Your brain didn't just bail on your friends, it just executed a high-level tactical retreat from a sensory battlefield that most people are too numb to even perceive. You aren't antisocial, and you certainly aren't broken. You are simply noticing a layer of reality that remains invisible to the rest of the world. Imagine this scenario: you get the text invite to a jam-packed bar opening. The promise is loud music, cheap drinks, and great energy. But your stomach drops not because you're a killjoy, but because your brain instantaneously ran a cost-benefit analysis. Realize the price of admission is your entire battery life. You aren't boring, you aren't difficult. Your psychology is just operating on a high bandwidth frequency while everyone else is still on dial-up. Welcome to Quiet Pressure Sketchbook, where we map out why your mind works this way. Let's decode the machinery inside that intricate head of yours. First, understand that your brain lacks a delete button, and that is actually a superpower. The average human brain comes equipped with a heavy-duty filtration system. When most people enter a busy room, their neurons ignore the buzzing fridge, smell of cheap perfume, and the uncomfortable temperature. They filter out the noise. Your brain, however, is a data hoarder, captures every detail, catalogs every sound, and analyzes every movement. Science refers to this trait as sensory processing sensitivity. Think of it this way: while the rest of the world is skimming the headlines, you are compulsively reading the footnotes, the bibliography, author's biography all at once. You notice the slight hesitation in a friend's voice, micro tension in a stranger's jaw, and the hum of the air conditioner. Simultaneously, it's like trying to drink from a fire hose, while everyone else is sipping from a straw. Research indicates that roughly 20% of humans are wired this way. 1 in 5 of us is navigating the world with a nervous system that refuses to skim the surface. To make matters more intense, your mind doesn't just catch these details, it archives them. That awkward pause in a conversation from last Tuesday. Brain tagged it as critical data and brings it up for review when you're trying to sleep. This isn't anxiety-induced overthinking. Is your neural circuitry doing exactly what it evolved to do? Recognize complex patterns that others are blind to. This trait is actually an ancient survival mechanism. Back in our tribal days, while the loud ones were distracting each other, ancestors with your brain type were the ones smelling the smoke before the fire started or noticing the subtle shift in the wind that signaled a storm. You aren't too sensitive. You are the designated sentry of the species. The issue is simply that modern life wasn't built for sentries. It was built for the distracted. Point number 2, you aren't avoiding people, you are avoiding the performance. At Quiet Pressure Sketchbook, we know you don't actually hate socializing. What you hate is the theater of it all. Large groups, most people engage in a form of social acting, feigning interest, laughing on cue, and pretending everything is perfect. To you, this feels like nails on a chalkboard. Because you can see the strings on the puppets, your brain is constantly decoding the subtext. The exhaustion behind the smile, the insecurity behind the brag. Psychologists refer to this as high perceptual sensitivity. You are essentially a human polygraph test that never turns off. A study out of Cambridge University revealed that individuals who seek solitude often possess significantly higher emotional intelligence scores than those who thrive in crowds. In other words, desire to stay home isn't a lack of social skills. It's a preference for authenticity. You would trade 100 shallow cocktail party chats for one raw, honest conversation on a park bench. That isn't a defect, that is a demand for substance in a superficial world. 3, your chemical reward system is wired for a different kind of fuel. This is where the biology gets fascinating. Most people run on dopamine. It's the more chemical that floods their brains when they get external validation, loud noises, or new stimulation. Your brain isn't impressed by that. Instead, your system thrives on acetylcholine, This is a neurotransmitter that makes you feel good when you turn inward, focus deeply, or embrace stillness. It's not that you can't enjoy a party. It's just that the party doesn't give you the charge it gives an extrovert. Your high comes from reading, creating, or simply sitting in silence. Furthermore, neuroimaging has shown that introverted brains often have a thicker prefrontal cortex, the area linked to abstract thought and decision-making. When you are sitting quietly doing nothing, your brain is actually running a marathon of ideas, connections, and theories. You aren't being lazy, are engaged in deep sea diving while everyone else is just water skiing. Number 4, you function as a human tuning fork. Ever walked into a room and immediately felt heavy before anyone said a word? That is your mirror neurons working overtime. Just witness other people's emotions, you metabolize them. If you spend an hour in a chaotic environment, you leave carrying the emotional luggage of a dozen strangers. You are absorbing the stress, the joy, and the anxiety of the room. Your porous skin, it is sensory taxation. Your system is trying to process the emotional data of the entire room while keeping your own composure. This is why you need legitimate recovery time after social events. However, this capacity makes you incredibly empathetic. You can read the room better than anyone because you can literally feel the room. You anticipate needs and understand unspoken pain. It is a heavy burden, but it is also a profound gift of connection. Finally, number 5, you aren't hiding from the world. You are protecting your clarity. We live in a culture that equates noise with importance, business with worth. If you aren't constantly seen, posted, and present, the world assumes you are failing, but you have realized a truth that most miss. Silence is not empty space, it is a canvas. Solitude is the laboratory where you process, heal, and construct your identity. You aren't missing out on the party. You are opting out of the noise to tune into the signal. You understand that the most profound realizations happen in the quiet moments, not under the strobe lights. Your need for peace is not a weakness, it is a prerequisite for the depth at which you operate. So the next time someone pressures you to get out more, remember that they are asking a deep sea diver to live in a kiddie pool. You aren't broken and you aren't weird. You are simply built for resonance in a dissonant world. And frankly, that is exactly what makes you necessary. I want to know where you stand. Are you recharged by the roar of the crowd, or does your battery only fill up in the sanctuary of your own room? Let me know in the comments below. If this perspective shifted something for you, subscribe to Quiet Pressure Sketchbook. Click the video on your screen right now. It explores the one specific habit that drains your unique battery faster than anything else, and I guarantee you're doing it without realizing it.